listen carefully. People, platforms, purpose. The cycle everyone needs. People, platforms, purpose. The cycle that everyone needs. When you say cycle, it's not cycle as in circle. Cycle. Something that keeps revolving. So it's CYCLE. The cycle that everyone needs. People, platforms, purpose. Now, while we're talking about people, platforms, and purpose, if you ever want to succeed in life, just pay attention to these three things. Anytime, any day, anywhere, if you pay attention to these three things, you realize that these are the things that you need to get to wherever you're going in life. Why are we talking about this today? Is to identify that cycle that drives sustainable success. And I'll give you some examples, whether popular examples or people that you even know. It will begin to come to your mind as you hear these things. We're to learn how to build people, to build platforms, and to build purpose intentionally. The moment you're able to walk around this cycle, or the moment you pay attention to these things, you realize that over time, it will be easier for you to intentionally use it to succeed and to use it for other people as well. Then it will help us understand how broken relationships can affect everything that we do. A few examples that I can quickly give you. For example, some of you know that I've said a number of times that I train in the banks and stuff like that. How did I get into all the banks where I train? There is not a single bank that I train for that I know people who are staff in the bank or who are the determiners of those trainers and stuff like that personally. I have gotten into every one of them by relationships. Every single one of them. Imagine that, in fact, there is one that I've now been training for them consistently for 2 years, and it's one relationship that was built as far back as 2010, and that relationship came back to bring me into a system in 2023. The reason I'm giving you timeline is to also help you understand that sometimes when you start a relationship with people, you don't even build that relationship with the intention of asking them for anything. You just build strategic relationship. You're working with them. You're doing something with them. They need something. You keep supporting. You keep helping. You're not expecting anything in return. Genuinely. But when an opportunity existed that I didn't even know existed, they thought, oh, who should I even think about? And they thought about somebody who had built a relationship with them, and they reached out to me. So it's very important to pay attention to how relationship works. Another one, someone that I had met maybe sometimes back in 2005. And then sometimes in 2019, this person also called me back to say, oh, I see you do a lot of this and stuff like that. Are you available for this? But the baseline was there's been a relationship over the years. Look at 2005 to 2019. All those who are good with mathematics, what's the timeline? 2005 to 2019. 14 years. So it means that this person, I did not, although I tried certain things, I'd made some attempts, I'd sent some proposals that didn't work and everything. But after 14 years was when this person called me back by himself to say, okay, we have this, I think you can do this. And I did it. And that was how another level of relationship began. So it's important to see that. And as we go on, we'll see that. So there's something I put here. I wish that my slide can come up. I don't know if there's an issue there. The big idea, success is really about talent alone. I had a coach who has passed on now, and he said something to me, and this what he drew a circle. Where I had a meeting with him, he then drew a circle. When he drew the circle, he then created like a percentage inside the circle. He created like a 15% and wrote in that smaller place 15%. And in the bigger circle, he wrote 85%. In the smaller space where he wrote 15%, he said skills. And in the larger space where he wrote 85%, he wrote marketing. Now, what he was trying to say to me is that life is 15% skills and 85% marketing or visibility. But guess the baseline or the rock of that visibility? People. Because if you don't know people, how do you become visible? And some of you will agree with one thing. In fact, think about yourself. I know you're very humble. I know that you don't like to brag. But you know, if you think about it right now, as you're sitting right now, you will think about some other people. You can mention 1, 2, 3, and some people a lot more who are not as skilled as you are, who are not as talented as you are. They probably don't work as hard as you are, but they are far more successful. How many of you can think of 1, 2, 3 people like that right now? Nobody? I'll be surprised if I can't find one. That on the top of your head now, you know at least 1 or 2 people. They are not as skilled as you are. They are not as gifted or talented as you are. They probably don't work as hard as you are, but they seem more successful. Or at least they seem to have more money. Only one person. Okay, 2. Yes, any other person? 3. Now, do you know why some of those things are happening? There are 2 things. Number 1 is people. Number 2 is platform. And the reason the platform would even come is because of the people that you have. So everything keeps coming back to what? People. If you manage relationships well, and one of the things we keep telling people who are in the kingdom, or Christians generally, is that one way those who are outside of the church seem to be getting ahead of those who are inside the church is what they call street credibility. And when we're talking about street credibility, at the end of the day, you realize that it's basically about relationships. You find one guy, he looks like this guy is irresponsible, this guy is all over the place, he's not serious and everything. But at the end of the day, if the guy needs anything at all, he knows just who to call. How many of you know people like that? No matter what happens, he knows who to call. But something happens to a Christian, they don't know who to call. They can't make a phone call. They can't make a text. They can't send a text message. They can't send any. They don't even have an idea who to reach out to. But you see a guy who is all over the place. And this guy knows who to call anytime, any day. So one of the major things we want to establish is that success is really about talent alone. Don't think that you are talented. And just because you are talented, you think, I was foolishly in that line some years ago, believing that, if you are gifted, people will just see you and that's it. You have to intentionally build the relationships that will help you out. Intentionally. If you don't intentionally build these relationships that will help you out, nothing will happen. And there are 3 things that I wrote here. Who knows you is important. Please write it down. Who knows you is important. Not who you know. Who knows you? You know, there are some people who say, I know this person. I know this. Does the person know you? If I mention the name of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria now, we all know him, don't we? But which one matters more? The fact that you know him or the possibility that he knows you? Which one counts more? Sorry, which one counts more? It's when he knows you. That's what counts more. There's one of my classmates now who was recently appointed a DG. I'm like, I'm not talking state level, I'm talking federal level. Who knows you counts more anytime, any day. The second question is where you are seen, or where are you seen? The first question is who knows you. Second question is where are you seen? And the third one that connects to your purpose is why you exist. But you see, where you are seen is also still connected to who knows you. Because it is who knows you that will give you a visible platform where you can be seen. I remember one of my friends that we were in school together, and she was telling me how she got a job. And one of the things that happened was that she went for, I think it was either convention or congress. She went for either of them. And one day she just saw an elderly person, an elderly man, and she just tried to help out the elderly man with something. Maybe by carrying something, I don't know what it was, but she just helped the elderly man out. And then they got into a conversation. And the man said, okay, so what do you do? And she said, I just finished NYC. I'm looking for a job. And so I said, really? And just by helping that elderly man out and led to a conversation, the man said, take my card, give me a call on Monday. By the time she called on Monday, she found out that the man actually was in a position to give her a job. That's how she got her first job. And today, she has been appointed head of the accounting group in that organization. But where did it all start? Just meeting one person and being nice to that person, just helping the person out. Some of you will see the person. because of attitude. He said, because if you are trying to be prim and proper, you will walk past people, you will not do anything for them, you will not help them. She just helped somebody carry something in camp. And just by helping the person carry something, that's how she got the job she was looking for. It's important to pay attention. Who knows you? Where are you seen? Why you exist? Then, of course, can you help me with my slide if you're able to? If you're not, I'll just keep going. I wanted to show you a cycle. Just, if you can draw a circle, if you are writing, no, just draw a circle. And on the top of the circle, you can write people. Then at the bottom right of the cycle, write platforms. Then at the bottom left of the cycle, write purpose. Then at the center of the cycle, write success. People at the top of the cycle, platforms on the right part of the cycle, purpose on the left part of the cycle, then center of the cycle, write success. This is important because you need to understand that it's people that give access. Each time I look at the major things that happened to me, there was some years ago, I was able to get a very decent gig, as we say, and it was somebody who knows me. How did the person know me? Something I had been doing for free. Over the months, I had been doing it all the time. I was just doing it for free. Now, when they needed somebody and they were going to pay for this job, this person said, oh, Fola, you've been doing this thing. Can you do it at this level? I said, yes, I can do it. And that's how it took me by hand to, I don't want to mention names because if I mention some of the names, there are people you know, even within this system that we're in. He took me to the person, and by the time we got to the door, we saw several other people waiting outside. He said, can you imagine all these other people? Where did they come from? They are not so, I'm the one in charge here. Why did they bring all these other people? He said, wait for me. He just told me to wait outside. He found a way to discharge every other person. After discharging every other person, he said, come in. And as I came in, one of our very, very senior pastors, he gave me 5 minutes to talk in his presence. And as I spoke, the man didn't even let me talk for 2 minutes. He said, don't worry, you'll have the job. But if I am good at something, can I get the platform without that person? Now, that person who also has access to that platform, if I don't have a relationship with that person, can I also get the platform without a relationship? There are some of us, even though we told us, in church we say, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Some people have misinterpreted it. And then because of that, you believe that, I'm just going to be by myself. And things like that. And you are not relating. You are not networking. You are not treating people right. You walk out. Some of you even have neighbors that you probably don't even know their names. Some of you have been sitting consistently beside people in church, maybe for weeks, for months. You don't even know who they are. You've never even, hi, how are you? My name is so and so. Who are you? And stuff like that. May I meet you? And just casually meeting somebody. And the prayer you've been praying from January to December, the person God positions beside you in church every Sunday is the answer to the prayer. But because you don't even bother to say hi to anybody, nothing happens. I can't imagine a situation where somebody is praying for a husband now. You are praying for God, bring this man. God, bring this man. God, bring this man. But as soon as we share the grace, before we share the grace, you are already at the gates. Once we say, once we begin declaration, from before we reach second line of declaration, you are already at the gates. And you are praying, God, bring this man. God, bring this man. God has brought the man. You are the one who is not patient to sit and see the person beside you. I mean, if God brought the man, don't you have to be patient for the man to come and talk to you? Because if the man sees that you are always running, the man can assume, okay, maybe she's married, she's running home to her husband or running home to her children or spouse. Whereas the person that God brought to you, you are the one running away. And some brothers too, may God open your mouth in Jesus' name. Why is the prayer louder with that? You need to also learn to talk. Because see, there are some people who have these platforms that you need. But if you don't open your mouth to say, this is what I do, they will not tell you what they can do. There are different kinds. Some people will tell you everything they can do, but some people, they will never open their mouth. It's just you talking to say, this is what I do, just in case you know anybody who requires this and stuff like that. And before you know it, prime and say, you said you do this? Oh, I have somebody. And you'll be shocked at who can give. Imagine, let's go into the Bible for a bit. Imagine, how would General Naaman, have imagined that it was the maid in his house that will give him the miracle that he requires? Would he ever have imagined that it was his maid that will give him the miracle that he requires? So it's to tell you never to overlook anybody. Never to underrate anybody. The people who will get you something in a particular organization, you never can tell who they are. Another thing happened, I'll give you an example. Pick a chain of lessons from what I'm going to tell you now. I was working somewhere. I was the assistant head of department. My boss was, of course, head of department. She was to recruit a new person to join us because we were approaching Christmas. Our hands were going to be full. We needed somebody to join us. Even if it's just for a few months, we needed somebody to join us. So she called somebody that she knew, what they call headhunting in HR, without doing any publicity. She called somebody and told the person, make sure you get to the office by so time. If you don't get there, forget it. That's the end of the job. The mistake that happened was that person got to that avenue and could not locate the office and was perambulating for a few minutes. Then she entered the office late. My boss said to her, sorry, we've gotten somebody else. And we had not conducted any interview. She was angry that she came late. So she said, sorry, we've gotten somebody else. And that was the end of it. So I gave her some time. After about 1-2 hours, I then walked up to her and said, do you really have somebody for that role? I have somebody I can call. And she said, no, there's nobody. If you can call the person, call the person. That's how I picked my own phone and called the person that has built a relationship with who? With me. I said, this is what has happened. Somebody just lost a job for coming late. Can you get here before 2 p.m.? If you can get here before 2 p.m., you have the job. That's how she came in and had a talk with my boss. That's how she got the job. Now, if this person does not have a relationship with me or had not been nice to me, if that opportunity opens up, do you think I'll call her? Then the second thing, 2 people walked in that same organization. 2 people walked in for a job interview. When they came in, they were equally good. My boss and the other person who were to decide who would take the job, didn't know how to decide. So they went to the reception and said to her, these 2 people that came for this job interview, which one of them was nice to you before they came for the interview? When they said, which one of them was nice to you? She said, oh, this other lady, she was just chatting me up. She was just being very friendly. And we talked before it was her time for the interview. The other one sat down, was forming big girl. Class, crossed her leg, prim and proper and everything. And that it was the receptionist that girl was chatting with that decided her destiny. That's how she got the job. That's how she got the job. Now, let me give you one that's a bit of a negative experience, so that you know that there are some people you must be far away from them. So this was a case of a lady who was to conduct a job interview. Unfortunately, in fact, that is a very funny story, because this person has nothing to do with it. This lady was conducting a job interview. The guy that performed the best on the job interview or at the job interview was rejected. Why was he rejected? Her friend and the lady that conducted the job interview now went to the restaurant. Somebody else who just came to eat in the same place was overhearing their conversation. And the lady asked her friend, so why did you reject that guy? He was the best. He had everything. He said, can't you see? He said, see what? He said, his perfume smelled like that of my ex-boyfriend. That was why he lost the job. That was why he lost the job. Now, I'll give you one quick lesson in that regard. Even though you would say the guy was not at fault, right? He's not at fault, right? Let me also tell you one quick lesson. Are you aware that there are organizations that have a no-scent policy? Meaning that whenever you're going out, you want to use a perfume, you want to use cologne, you want to use anything, let it be very mild. Not something that is so obvious that you walk into a room, everybody perceives it. If you walk into incense, if you walk into a room and everybody cannot breathe because of it, you will think you're smelling nice. Some people put lavender on their body and they believe that, and they walk into it. That's why he lost the job. Guess what? If that lady didn't perceive the perfume, would he not have gotten the job? Another lady also got a job for being, another lady also lost the job for being overly dressed. When I say overly dressed, the woman who was the MD felt like, you have outdressed me. If you have outdressed me, then you don't need this job. That's how she lost the job. Let's not go there. But let's focus on the positives of relationships. Is to tell you that, look, anytime to get to a level, to get to a platform, somebody has to do what? Open the door for you. So, why relationships matter? Number one, information flows through relationships. Information does what? Information flows through relationships. Look at the examples I just gave you. Somebody lost a job, but because I'm aware that somebody had lost a job, what did I do? I quickly made a phone call to another person. Listen, when you say you're looking for a job, look for people who know people. There are jobs. It's just that there are so many jobs they don't publicize. There are so many business opportunities they never publicize. They tell, look, I don't want all this. I say, please headhunt for me. And when they say headhunt for me, it means look for the person personally. Or look through your networks. Who are the people that you know? And that's how people are getting businesses too. Who do you know that can, they don't say, oh, put out a notice there. We are looking for, no. So many people don't do that. They don't want that stress. Information flows through relationships. There are informations you will never get until you enter a certain cycle. It never leaves. There are some WhatsApp groups today. Any opportunity does not leave that WhatsApp group. It's only those in that group that will ever find out. Then trust determines access. Trust determines access. There are places that people will not open the door for you except they know you. Some of the people who give me training opportunities and stuff like that, the only reason they give me the training opportunity is they know that I won't get there and try to hijack the clients from the person who recommended me. Some people, if they give you a customer now, oh, please just help me temporarily because I'm not available. That's the last time the person who gave you the customer will ever have access to the customer. In my own case, when people want to give me opportunities, one of the major things they are looking out for to be able to, before they even refer me, is, oh, who can I give this training opportunity? Who will not overmarket himself to the point that they will now think me I'm not even important? Is that person they will now be using? And then corner all the opportunities and stuff like that. At the end of the day, you come back and say, that person who recommended you will just realize they are not even recommending me, or they are not even calling me again. It's you they are now calling. If people see they cannot trust you, they will not open up to you. So it's important that people can trust you with their clients. People can trust you with their access. You will not go and backbite them. There are some people, I've heard a story before. Somebody gave another person a platform. And immediately the first thing he wants to do is to blackmail the person that gave him the platform. Not knowing that the person he was talking to has a solid relationship with the person who recommended him. That person just called back. Boy, where did you get this one from? This is what he's saying about you. And you are the one who gave him the platform. So, trust is very important. Then, reputation travels faster than resumes. Reputation travels faster than what? Resumes. Have you ever met people before and they say to you, your reputation precedes you? I was at an event on Sunday afternoon where some of us, we've been working together for the last 2 years, but we'd never met ourselves before. And for the first time, we were meeting ourselves. And the first thing they would say, they would just quote something that has to do with me. Like, really? They say, don't worry, I know you now. Reputation precedes, or reputation travels faster than resumes. Okay, now that my slide is off, can you go back to the previous slide just for them to see that cycle? I wanted them to see that exactly. So you look at this. People give access. Platforms give visibility. And purpose gives longevity. But everything begins with people. If you want to look at that cycle, success will never happen without first of all having people. It is people that will give you platforms. Of course, if you have your purpose, what you do with platforms is show your purpose. And of course, when you display your purpose, what happens? More people see you, and then more people give you more platforms. So it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Somebody is the first person that will first of all introduce you. It's always one person that's why you can never say I'm a self-made man. There is nobody, there has not been one, and there will never be one person who will ever be self-made. It is the height of, as I like to call it, is the height of arrogant ignorance. For anybody to say, oh, I'm a self-made person. Somebody gave you a platform. Somebody introduced you to somebody else. Somebody else recommended you for something. Why? Because they trust you and they see that you deliver. All right, let's move on now. So, talking about people quickly, move on to the third slide after this now. You have mentors, you have peers, you have collaborators. There are people that you must value. You must value them. And when you say people, some people now, the moment you meet somebody else, we say because you must value people, you must build relationship. You meet them today, that very night, you remember that your house rent has not been paid. You meet some people that very day that you have met them. That's when you realize that for the last 8 years you have not eaten. Then, it's as if you are going to, in fact, you talk to them as if you are going to die now if they don't help you. That's not the purpose of meeting people. That's why when I started earlier, I gave you examples of people that I met. I told you I met somebody sometimes in 2005. I didn't get anything, or I didn't get any introduction until when? 2019. I told you I met another person 2010. The person didn't call me back for any recommendation until 2023. There are people you meet, you just keep talking to them. Once in a while, say hello to them. Once in a while, hey, how are you? And stuff like that. And when people open doors for you, this is one thing Christians don't do. If people open doors for you, go back and give them a gift. Go back and do what? Give them some of you, somebody helped you get a job. You have not gone back to say thank you. You have not gone back to give them anything. Some of you, somebody helped you to get a business opportunity. And that's how the business continues. Let me ask you a question. I recommend 2 people now to 2 different places, or maybe the same place. One person comes back, gives me a percentage of what they were given without me asking. Another person says, Mabatielo, is it not people that will always help people? And God is helping all of us too, and kept quiet and said nothing. When there's an opportunity the next time, who do you think I'll recommend? Something happened to me on Sunday. Somebody I recommended for multiple trainings. It was painful to me. Let me be very honest. Painful to me. You know why it was painful to me? It was a technical training that I couldn't handle. And because it was a technical training that I couldn't handle, I said, okay, somebody else can handle it. I went out of my way, got that person. I said, please, use this person. This person will deliver. And I didn't ask for anything. And the person too didn't say anything and kept quiet. But on Sunday, when we met at a meeting where all of us would normally meet and sort of like, he brought a large hamper to me. I was shocked. Because I wasn't expecting anything from him. I didn't ask him for anything. And he just said, please, where did you park your car? I was wondering why he was asking me. He said, please, you made 2025 a colorful year for me. Please, I have a token for you. I got to the car. I saw hamper. Really? If there's an opportunity next year, who do you think I'll call? And I'm telling you what happens in the world. That's how people build strategic relationships. There was a story. This was one of the pastors that you probably know in Lagos. One of the things he said was that, he said, as a student in the university, he heard about a lecturer that everybody told him that this lecturer is wicked, is this. And he had gone to his seniors to go and ask, please, how do we treat this matter? He said, make sure number one, he said, attendance is compulsory in his class if you want to pass. Make sure you never travel without his permission. Do this, do that. He said, okay, no problem. So when he was going to travel, which was a weekend, he traveled and he said he felt like the Holy Spirit asked him to buy bread and wine for this lecturer. So he bought bread and wine, and on Monday morning went to go and visit the lecturer. He said, sir, I traveled and I got this for you. The man was shocked. He said, really? You traveled? Got this for me? Next thing the man said, what's your matric number? He collected his matric number. End of story. The man passed the course. Am I asking you to go and bribe people? No. But he said the Holy Spirit told him, buy bread and wine for this lecturer. And he obeyed. Was he expecting the man to ask for his matric number? No. But in the corporate world, listen, that's how things work. This is Christmas period. Now, this is an opportunity to give people gifts. Think about people who have helped you one way or the other this year. Send gifts to them. In preparation for 2020. Even if it is not a lot, look for something nice. Send to them. Some of you do it for your bosses. And don't slam doors. We're going to get to a particular point. Now, the next slide, show the next slide. Common mistakes people make with relationships, they burn bridges. I once worked with a very popular pastor in Lagos. I won't mention his name. A very popular pastor in Lagos. And when I worked with him then, quite a number of people would just leave anyhow when it was time for them to leave after working for him and stuff like that. But I said, never, I'm not going to leave. The first thing I did was, to leave that place, you have to give 2 months notice. Many of you who work in corporate organizations know that minimum, most times, except you are in management level, minimum required notice is usually 2 weeks. Worst case scenario, 1 month. But if you give 2 weeks notice, you fulfilled all righteousness. If you give 1 month's notice, you've done more than enough. But this one was 2 months. They mandated it. So I said, okay, no problem. I gave him the 2 months notice. After I gave him the 2 months notice, on the day that I was leaving, he's my boss, I'm the staff. On the day that I was leaving, I went to my boss with a check. I said, I'm sorry, sir, but please, it's a token. Please accept this check. And I went with my family and said, bless them, and gave him a check. He was shocked because others just leave and go anyhow. But in my own case, the day I was leaving, I went to him with a check. And guess what? Till date, if I send him a text message, he responds. Till date, if I send him a text message, he responds. Why? Because when I was leaving, I understood that, well, it didn't work out. We didn't quite work out together as Oga and Omoshe relationship. But tomorrow, there are so many things we can still do together. So when I was leaving, I made sure I left in a proper way. Many of you, if you ever have to leave where you work, live in a proper way. Live in what? In a proper way. Don't slam the door on your bosses. I was listening to Pastor Pojoyemade just during this week, and one of the things he said was that there was a man who wanted to leave a particular place because of some politics going on in the office, and the Holy Spirit told him, don't go yet. Then he stayed. Now, finally, when it was time to leave, he told the boss, okay, it's time and stuff like that, and he left. Now, a client of the organization called his boss and said, oh, we need this thing done. But they couldn't pay because what the organization was charging was too much. And guess what the boss said to the client? You may not be able to pay us, but there's a guy that would have led the delegation if you had agreed to do this business with us. He just left to go and start his own thing. He is not going to charge as much as we are charging. I think you should deal with him. That's how the boss gave the client the phone number of somebody who just resigned last week. And guess what? It was a lot of money in dollars. But because they were an international organization, they would charge a lot more. But that's our first gig came from his former boss, and it was a lot of money in dollars. If he left that organization angrily, would his boss call him back? I mentioned a media outfit, Ebony Life. You know Ebony Life, right? You know the founder, right? She used to be my boss. I worked with her as a PR executive. Those of you who don't know, don't worry. But she used to be my boss. But when I was to leave, I make sure, that's why there is nobody I've worked with that I cannot send a message to tomorrow, or that I cannot put a call through tomorrow. Don't burn bridges. Don't have transactional relationships. That's what is there. Poor communication too. Make sure you find a way. You have issues, find a way to get it across. Don't fight anybody. Because if you fight them, and guess what? They may even be wrong. But if you fight them and you go, they may be the one blocking another opportunity that you never even knew existed. They know people that want to help you. And because they know people that want to help you, I hope you know that people still do background checks. And people say, what do you think about this person? What do you think about this person? Some of you too, because you think, oh, me, I won't marry anybody in G2G. We are not saying it's compulsory you marry anybody in G2G. But don't be saucy towards the men. Because the person you want to marry may come to the men in G2G and say, what do you think about this babe? I'm thinking about approaching her. Next they say, Atawewe. You know the meaning of Atawewe? Help me interpret in English. What's Atawewe? Eh? Alligator pepper or chili pepper. Say, Some of them may not even talk. But without them even talking, when they say, what did you say again? Why? Because the person you are acting saucy towards may not be the person that you need, or may not be the person that needs you, but may be in a position to give a recommendation that will determine your life. So don't be nice to people just because you need them. And don't be nice to people, or don't treat people in a bad way just because you think you don't need them. That's very important. Then, platforms. Platforms simply represent anywhere your voice is heard, any space you're working. For those of you who are in the office, that office space is your platform. Your role in that office is your platform. Your business is in that office, that's your platform. Your social media. Many of you don't understand. Your social media is your platform. I've gotten jobs on social media before. Just because of the things that I do on social media. I am intentional about what I put out there. That's my own platform. And people reach out to me and start calling me. There's a place called Bonny Island. For this year is the first time they are having an official road leading into that place called Bonny Island. For years they don't have a road. It's an island. It's surrounded by water. For you to get in there, you either go by water or you know somebody that works in NLNG and they have to fly you in. The person who flew me into that place got to know me because they were seeing me on television some years ago when I was on the debaters. This was 16 years ago or so. And then saw me on social media and realized that it's still the same thing I've been doing. That's why I said, please, Pastor, can you come to Bonny Island? The first question, is it not that place that is surrounded by water? He laughed and said, yes. Okay, he said, don't worry. Our company has a private jet and I'll make arrangement with them. You can get on it. And when I got there, myself, I know there is no way I would have gotten to this place if there was no insider. There's no way you can get in. So those platforms will keep expanding. And when people give you platforms, use the platforms well. Do what? Use the platforms well. Because it's when you use the platforms well that more people will then, multiply your platforms. That's absolutely important. Then let me skip platform. Okay, platform responsibility. Don't let me skip this. When we talk about platforms, if people give you platform, integrity is important. When people give you platform, I just told you a situation where there's somebody. If somebody recommends them to a client, what they will be looking for is how to spoil that person's reputation so that they can continue doing the business. Who does that? Somebody said, "Come and eat." You now decided to hold his own hand or even cut off his own hand so that you can face the meal alone. You should be smart enough to realize that somebody who can call you to come and eat in this particular place definitely has multiple tables or several other tables. So don't abuse relationship. Then if something happens where somebody else gave you a platform, report it to that person. Tell them, this was what they did for me, or this was what happened. Or if he wants to take it, take it. I'll tell you this. When I started getting into some quarters, at first it wasn't convenient. The people who would call me and give me those opportunities would tell me, Fola, we're taking 30% of whatever you get. I felt bad initially, but I realized that, and I said to myself, okay, he called me now and says he's taking 30% of whatever I get. What if he does not call me? Do I have 1% of anything? No, talk to me. Do I have 1% of anything? But he called me now. He says he's taking 30%. I still have 70% of something. And then he calls me again and takes 30%. Calls me again, takes 30%. At least I'm getting 70% of something. What if he does not call me? Will he not call somebody else? If you reject that job, you say, no. What's that? Some of you will even use Christianese or Christianity to say, no, we don't do that there. That's bribery. I can't. He's the owner of the opportunity. He's the owner of the platform. He says he wants 30%. You say no. In the corporate world, some people call it business development. And if you don't want to do business development, forget it. That's how you'll be struggling for a long time. So that relationship is very important. Then, let me skip this purpose and cycle. Just go to, there's a cycle, another cycle, the 5 hours of relationships, and let me quickly wrap up there. Yeah. The first one is recognize people. This is 5 hours for relationships, how to treat people. Number one, recognize people. Don't commonize people. Don't commonize people. There's one very interesting Yoruba saying. Oni kadupe lowo eni to ri ni to moni loju eyan ni owo bi ta wa. Meaning, you should even be grateful to the person who is looking at you in a disdainful manner. There's somebody else who didn't even recognize you. Recognize people. I just giving you the example of Naaman in the Bible. How on earth would he imagine that the person who will solve his problem is the maid that came to his own house? Recognize people. No matter how young, no matter how small, no matter how big they are. Some of you only greet people who look like they are prosperous. Some people only greet people who look like they are successful. Say, these are the people I roll with. Anybody that doesn't look successful, you don't want to greet them. You don't want to have anything to do with them. And some of them, look at the one pastor told us on Sunday. That the person who gave the pastor money to buy the land does not look like the amount in his account. I hope you know there are people who are shorts, who wear shorts, who wear, just t-shirts and stuff like that. But the fact that they are wearing shorts does not mean their account balance is short. If you look at people, there was a guy who came for a book launch wearing slippers to a book launch. When it was time to donate, they didn't even want to give him the microphone. When he donated, he was the biggest donor at the book launch. And wore slippers to the book launch. Recognize people. Then next one is respect people. When we say recognize people, the recognition is not just paying attention to them. How you treat, they greet you. Some of you would greet, some of you will respond in such a way that we know that you don't want to greet them. It's just because at least you still have small church mind. That's why you're responding to them. It's because you still have small church mind. If the church mind was not there at all, the next thing will just be me ogbo. So the next thing is relate with people. Relate with people. You don't know who will give you the opportunities. Relate. And you're not relating only because of what you want to get with them. And this applies to everybody, no matter what you do. I've gotten opportunities that I never knew that this person has this kind of contact or this kind of access. People have invited me for stuff that I almost underrated them until I got there. I didn't know, but I wasn't saucy towards the person. I didn't discard them. And then I got there and realized, wow, I was shocked. Then recommend other people too. Don't just be praying that God bring people to me. God bring people to me. You too be the answer to somebody else's prayer. How many people has God also used you to answer prayers for? Just as you are open and praying that God will use people to answer your own prayers, you too know opportunities. Pass it to other people. And one person, if I find one opportunity, I don't hesitate. If I know who would benefit from this, immediately I'm passing on to the person. If I know something that helps you out, I'm sharing it. A number of times I'm outside after the service, I'm chatting with people. It's things that I know will benefit them that I'm giving away for free. So recommend other people. And the final one is what? Reward. I've given you an example. Reward people. When we say reward, it doesn't mean that you have all the money that you must pay them, but at least do something to let them see that no. This person appreciates what I have done. Apart from sending messages to them, oh, thank you, I really appreciate it, I'm grateful for this. If anybody, think about it this year. Somebody helped you get a job. Somebody helped you with business referrals. Somebody helped you with opportunities, and they paid you for those things. Think about those people who did it for you this year. Go and give them gifts. See whether they will do more next year or not. Anybody in position, those in the corporate world, they know how to do it so well, and they are constantly doing it. So let me wrap up here because of our time. Relationships are not optional. The key takeaways now. Relationships are not optional. It's a must that we build relationships. And one problem that we have as a Christian is that many Christians are not being intentional about their relationships. Many Christians are not being intentional. Be deliberate, be intentional. Go for dinners. I'm not asking you to dress anyhow to the dinner. I only said you should go for dinner. So that you will not say that they asked us to go for dinner, because I know towards the end of the year now, there will be all kinds of dinner, end of year, banquets and stuff like that. Dress properly. Be prepared for opportunities. Some of you should even prepare what they call elevator pitch. Have your elevator pitch ready. Don't make it look like you are coming to sell yourself, but somebody just ask a question. Like, as they say in Yoruba, araron bomb lawani. It was an opportunity that you were already looking for. Somebody now asked a question that just unlocked or unleashed it. Instantly, you say, wow, you are ready. Say, I live ready. Go for those things. Some of you will sit at home. You say, I don't go anywhere. I don't. In fact, they prophesy I should not go out. There are more jobs and businesses being passed out at dinners than at job interviews. There are more jobs and opportunities being passed out at dinners, corporate events, corporate awards, end of the year gigs and stuff. Go out. Build relationships. And when you build relationships, don't just collect their number and keep it there. Once in a while, say, hey, hello, how are you, sir? How are you doing? I just said I should reach out to you. In fact, you say to them, if there's any way I can help you. Don't say, please help me, sir. No. Don't ever tell anybody, please help me, sir. You are the one who will say, if there's any way I can be of help. But what you are actually saying is that, if you have job for me. But the way you say it is that, is there any way I can help you, sir? Am I making sense to you? Yeah. Then purpose sustain the success. Of course, you must have had your purpose. Because without purpose, you wouldn't even know which relationship is right for you and which one is not. And how you treat people determines how far you go. Everybody say with me, how you treat people determines how far you go. How you treat people determines how far you go. Thank you. God bless you.